Hi, I'm Tim Stack. I'm a senior writer at Entertainment Weekly, and I'll be moderating this Q&A. I think it's really hard to create an iconic character within one season of a show, especially when you really don't speak very much and you just eat waffles. But I think, obviously, Millie has really done that. So without further ado, let's welcome Millie Bobby Brown. All right. You look so lovely.
Thank you.
Wait, so let's go back. Let's go back like 40 years when you first started acting. When did you first start acting? What sort of, what drew you to it?
I think it was just, I don't really know. I think it was like when you have it and when you know you enjoy doing it, then you want to pursue it, and there's really no one stopping you. Like, really, it sounds crazy. I can't drive. I can't take myself to auditions, but like if you just if you persuade people, like my parents, I'm like, you guys, you have to believe in me. I promise it's gonna be good. And they're like, okay. And then they drive me to the auditions, and I keep getting no's, and I'm like, it's okay, like, it's gonna happen. And they're like, yeah, when? Because we're running out of money. And I'm like, well then, I don't know now. I've got to really rethink this. So we moved to LA for like 3 years, and again, kept going no's. But I had a couple jobs like Modern Family and Grey's Anatomy, and
Who were you on Grey's Anatomy?
I was like this. You only heard my voice for like the whole episode. I was on the phone, and I was like, my mom, she's sick. You need to help me. And it was like, it was like just my voice. It was voice acting, you guys.
You're so versatile. So many skills.
So I got a couple jobs, and I was a lead in like a show called Intruders that were filmed in Vancouver, and I had to play an 80-year-old man inside a 9-year-old's body, and that was the time when I was like, whoa, this is weird. I don't know if this is supposed to happen, and I couldn't do any press for the show because, obviously BBC America wanted to keep me kind of protected in the fact that I was playing an 80-year-old serial killer. And I had no idea what I was doing, but it seemed to be good, and I kind of liked it. And then we moved back to LA, and we just kind of broke. We broke the momentum of acting. I was like, whoa, this is hard now. Like, I'm not doing anything else. I met so many other actors along the way that just was like, I need help. Like, I don't have it. I'm like, same, dude. Same here. I don't have it either. And then we moved back to England, and that's kind of when I just went back to school. I didn't really have it anymore. And then was one day I went for a Game of Thrones audition. And I was like, this is it. This is going to be my big break. This is it. I'm going to get it. And it's going to be great. And I didn't get it, I didn't get it. And I was like, okay, we're done. And the same day I went and auditioned for Stranger Things. And it really, the rest is history.
And when you were auditioning for Stranger Things, did they give you like the full like gist of who Eleven was, or was it just sort of like bits and like did you even read a scene from
She
like
has a shaved head. Relate her to Charlize Theron in Mad Max, and she's really badass. There you go. And I was like, okay, I like creating characters.
Yeah.
And I kind of created her on behalf of 21 Laps and the Deborah Brothers and Netflix, and we created 11. It was kind of crazy because I had no idea who I was going in. Like on the audition, I was like, she seems to be okay. We'll try it out. And the next day I got the job. Crazy. It was like, acting. And then I was like, boom, got the job.
Wow. And so did you have any nerves about shaving your head? I mean, was that, because sometimes I feel like actors, it's like, ooh, I don't want to, it's like having a kind of physical transformation. were you like, let's go for it?
Yeah, let's go for it. Let's try it.
Yeah.
I kind of at that point was like, any job will do. but like, there was this thing where I was like, I had to, because there's kids and my age that don't have a choice. They lose their hair and that's it. They can't do what they love and lose their hair. They lose their hair. And whether they like it or not, it's gone. So I felt it was a little superficial of me to be like, no, I don't want to cut my hair. I want to be beautiful. Like, no, I'm going to cut my hair, I'm going to embrace it, and I'm going to inspire people because people inspire me. So that's I think the main reason I had done it. And because I didn't know what the character was, so I didn't know. I was like, no, I'm going to cut this for the character because I didn't know what the character was. I cut it because I didn't want to be like every other kid, you know? So I was very excited.
So explain to people, because I've met them and I spent a lot of time with them, but they're very unique, the Duffer Brothers. What are they like? I mean, they're wonderful. They're twin brothers, and they're like big kids. They're just like, they're kind of not unlike the boys in Stranger Things.
For sure.
Yeah. What's it like working with them?
I feel like they're one person. They don't ever disagree. They're just one person. It's like so weird even to watch it when you're at the monitors and you're watching them direct the other actors. They come back to the monitors and they're just like, did you tell them, okay, you go tell camera to do this and I'll go tell the actor to do this. I'm like, what just happened? Like, why are you agreeing? If I was with my sister, I'd be like, no, this is what's and she'd be, you don't think that you would get along. And it just, they're like one person. It's great. Obviously they are like the boys in the show. They're very weird. They're geeks.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they've created a great show. Obviously they are so young, but they're the writers, the showrunners, and the directors, like all at once. Whilst writing, it's a lot to do, especially dealing with all us kids. Like, how do they do it? I'm always like, oh, like on the weekends they're writing, and then on the weekdays they're directing and show running, and they have to keep in charge of to keep the whole crew happy and keep the cast happy. And I'm like, oh, I would die in the first episode. Yeah. But they're great. I love them.
Did they give you guys movies? Obviously, this is Stranger Things is a big homage to the 80s. Did they give you guys movies to watch? Because none of you were born in the 80s. So, I mean, you weren't even I think you guys were all born in 2004. I know that. Oh, it makes me sad. I was like 50 in 2004. No, anyways. But did they give you sort of things to look at to sort of get the sense of the tone of Stranger Things?
Yes. They gave us The Goonies, Stand By Me, E.T., Poltergeist, and I think that was about it for our kind of, for Nancy, they gave her, Pretty in Pink, and for Hopper, they gave him, Jaws, the chief, it was we had our own one, and mine was E.T., apparently the alien. I don't know why they said that, it's so rude. But I thought we had to, do our research, and they cut a trailer together of E.T., and yeah, same. E.T. And all the movies put together, and I was like, whoa, this show looks cool. Yeah. Sign me up. And they was like, Winona's gonna be a part of it, and I was like, uh-huh. And they were like, and it's gonna be a Netflix original series. I was like, yep.
Yeah, so I was actually on set the first season, and no one sort of knew about this show, and it was, I mean, I had seen the first episode, and I loved it, but it was, so under the radar. What was that like shoot? And now, obviously, it's very different, but what was that first season like? It must have been kind of, it seemed very, almost like camp. You guys were all just kind of running around, and obviously you're working, but what was that first season like shooting?
We really was running around. We never worked. It felt like I never worked. If it really, they was Millie's ready on set, and I wouldn't prepare, because I feel like that's the best thing for you to do, is I'm in school doing algebra, I'm like, okay, just pi, and then I'm like, and they're like, Millie, we're ready for you on set. I run in, I cry, act, cut, Millie's back to school, and I run back to school, and I do it again. And it's it's a cycle. It's a vicious cycle, for sure, but it's a cycle, and you just have to kind of get used to it, especially being a young actor, just trying to constantly feel like, because, Winona Ryder is part of the project, and you have David Harbour, and you're like, whoa, I have to kind of fill in their footsteps, and you can't. You realize you can't. And all us kids were like following along, like, please love us. And when you go onto set and you see Winona work, and you're like, okay, so Winona's preparing and David's preparing, and I'm like, just got from school, let's try this. It's I think what you find when you're an actor is you find your own rhythm, and you go by what you think is right. And I think the directors have a big part in that, but you also do, because nobody else is playing that role except for you. So it's all on you. If you screw it up, it's on you. But you have to believe in yourself, and if you don't, you're not going to create a role. You're not going to create a character. So that is why I found that if I prepared for it, it would become too facial. The facial expressions would become too, I'm acting, right? So if I'd go on set and I'm just like, it'd work a little more. So that's kind of my the momentum I kind of had. It worked, I think.
Oh, yes, it did. Let's talk about. Let's talk about the bathtub a little bit this episode.
Yeah.
I'm assuming when you lift the car up, that was not really happening.
The van? The van?
The van, sorry, the van.
Yeah, it happened.
Oh, it did? Wait, did they really, was the van actually, tell me about this.
Yeah, so...
now you're blowing my mind.
Yeah, no, it happened. We was riding on our bikes, and the vans were chasing after us, and then there was like, okay, you guys have to go to school now. So we went to school, and I came back, and the van flipped, right? They had and it actually smashed into a mailbox, and it didn't go right, and it smashed into a camera that was really expensive, and I was like, whew, this is great. Another 5 weeks added. And then we went back to school, and then Netflix were like, okay, we're gonna try this again. And now we're gonna go get another van. And we tried it, and it worked. Thank goodness for that, it worked. But yeah, it worked. It looked pretty cool. They had a camera on top of us, so that when, I think if you guys remember the shot where we were riding our bikes and all our heads were up. Poor Finn. He had to ride a bike whilst looking up, whilst with me on the back. I don't know how he did it. But yeah, it was a fun scene as well. And then going to the bathtub, all that salt was in there. That is the thing. I had to put
were you so dried out by the end of that? You must
yeah.
have been
Well, it's kind of like a spa treatment. That's what I thought of it.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I put a ton of Vaseline on my body, because even if I go in the sea, my whole body rashes up. So I was in there and I was like, oh my, and then my dress started to go up, and the crew were like, Millie, and I'm like, oh no, what's happening? But it was a very difficult scene. You have all the cast members, and then you're in a bath. Soaking wet, and as soon as you get wet, you're done. But luckily, you didn't have to dry my hair. So I just went like this, and I'm like, good to go. But it was a very difficult scene, because I was very emotional that day, and just kind of, it was a difficult scene, because that is the time when you're like, okay, now I do have to prepare. Now that's a scene where I can't just sit there and try. You have to do it. And I think it turned out really good. I didn't watch the show, so it was very weird for me I was at the back, and I was like, this happened? I forgot that happened. But I haven't watched the show, because I don't like watching myself. I'm I'm a perfectionist. There was this one scene, and I was like, oh, why did I do that? Why did I blink at that time? But you'll find sometimes you like it and you learn from it. I don't. I just finished season 2, and it's sick. It's so good. So I'm watching this, and I'm like, the boys' voices are so young, and I feel like I'm gonna stop talking about us.
Wait, so you also have you have a great scene with Winona in this episode, and I know you guys became very close. She obviously started out as a young actor. Has she ever given you any advice, or what have you learned from her as an actor?
Stop when you feel like it's getting too much, because I felt that many times. Like, and you'll all feel it. So it's if you feel like, whoa, this is getting a little much to handle, then you stop, you take a breather, and you're like, okay, well, many worse things are going on in this world, and I'm moaning about this? Okay, maybe we should just simmer down. Like, it's okay. I'm pretty fine. I'm doing what I love. Stranger Things has enabled me to do that, and I'm not going to sit here and complain about the scene or complain about why I'm saying this or why I'm blinking at this specific time, because if it inspires other people for the show to be weird and outcasts, then I'm gonna just let it be. But I just don't like watching myself.
That other scene though, when you're in the water, you're in the bathtub, and you start having the visions of Will and sort of the upside down, and you're in that entirely black kind of weird space, the void, and it's so emotional, and you're by yourself basically doing that scene. Yeah. What was that like? I mean, is that challenging to sort of act opposite nothing basically and have to summon all that emotion? Well,
no. I think it's easier. To act with nothing, because you kind of just. Well, I'm also there with like 250 crew members, so it's like I'm not really by myself. And I was with Noah that day because he was in the scene with me, but it's like I said, you don't feel like you're acting when you're there. You just kind of stand there, you look around, you get scared, then you go to school, then you get a yellow Gatorade, and then you go back to work. It's great, it's really fun.
I'm glad you're hydrating. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's very important.
Thank you.
If you're crying that much, you should hydrate.
Yeah, I know. Like, I have like a good 2 bottles of water in the morning and that's a lot for me.
Hydration is key. Hydration is
yeah,
key.
and also I have I'm gonna say it anyway because why not? But in season 2, the first episode I had a stick with menthol in it, and it's kind of like looks like lipstick, and you put it under your eyes and it makes you cry. And I in episode 1. I put it in my pocket, and I had it for the whole season. And like episode 9, I was on set, and I just looked in my pocket, and I was like, oh, I gotta cry again. And like it's just, and like the stick's like down to here now. But it was like that also helps as well. Yeah. It really helps actually. And you just gotta pull the face with it, and then the tears well, and the tears fall. It's just great.
So I just saw footage of you. I think you were in South America maybe last week, and so this is a global phenomenon. Yeah. How has this changed your life? I mean, can you even qualify it? What's your life like now?
It hasn't changed it. Nothing's, I think, changed. And I'm serious, like, I still have the same family, still have the same house, same personality, not changed. My style's definitely changed though. Like before I had like the weirdest clothes, like Birkenstocks. I'm still wearing my Birkenstocks though.
I admired your Birkenstocks upstairs. I'm contemplating a pair.
I know.
Thank you. I don't know if I should dress like a teenage girl, but I
think you'll look great in this.
I'll get my own version.
I think some things have definitely changed, but my life I think it's impacted is the word. Yeah. Definitely impact, like a big impact on my life, because it's definitely not the same, but it hasn't changed completely because I still get told off by my parents. I'm still very cheeky. I still make a lot of mess in the house. Not different at all. But yeah, I'm doing what I love, which is the same.
And you, at the video I saw of you did, and I Am Telling You. Yeah. Do you love like musical theater? Is that like a big, or is it Dreamgirls centric, or what is your what sort of? That's good. I mean, I always
thought like maybe musical theatre would be something that I really love to do. I am a very, I don't know, I want to do a comedy. I find that I'm very funny. Like, and that's something that I'm proud of. And I was scared because today I was talking to my sister and my publicist, and I was like, what if like the audience is like doesn't get my humor? And then I'm like, oh no, because that's my number one thing is to make people laugh and happy. And like that, I think that's I would like to do a comedy. But the boys have told me a lot about Broadway, and I'm like, whoa. Seems tiring. This is very tiring just the way it is. Like I've just gone to Chile and then I went to Argentina, and I worked all week and then got a plane at 2 a.m. to come here to go do a photo shoot. So it's like kind of crazy, but like I don't think I can do Broadway yet. Not just yet, but I like singing. I like singing. It's.
You like rapping?
I love rapping. I don't know if I want to get into singing yet, because I'm 13. Like I'm not 16. I'm not Haley Steinfeld yet. So
I'm 13. I'm not 16.
I'm not 16.
I love that qualification.
People do treat me like I'm an adult, which it's okay, because I guess I'm a little mature for my age, but you have to be in this industry. Like you can't act your age. You can't go onto set and act like a 13-year-old. You have to be like, you have to accept people's advice. Although, honestly, I don't think I accept people's advice. Like, I do accept people's advice, but like, it goes, through this ear and it processes. And it's like in the middle of my face. And then if I don't like it, it's gonna go out the other. Yeah. And if it does, it's gonna go up to my brain. But like, you have to just, you have to make sure that the advice they're giving you is like valid. If it makes sense. Some people, like Leonardo DiCaprio told me that like, he was like, you're a great actor. And I was like, this is going straight to my brain. This is taking a nice shortcut straight to the brain. Like, I did not go out the other ear. And like Meryl Streep told me, like, she was like, she turned to me and I was at the Golden Globes and I was like, do I tap Meryl Streep on the shoulder? Like, is that right? Like, I don't know if I'm like, I would bow down to her. I don't know. And I was like, Meryl, hi, big fan. She was like, oh, you're nominated tonight. And I'm like, yes, I am. Hi. And like, she was like, oh, I just think you were great in the show. And I was like, again, goes straight to the brain. So it's, I think it's just, I don't know what the question was, but I know, I definitely told you that. So there you go.
That was wonderful. All right, so we're going to take some audience questions. Okay. So Valisa Tate, did I say that right, Valisa? She would like to know, has the 80s soundtrack of Stranger Things influenced your musical taste, and what is on your playlist right now? What are you listening to?
Africa by Toto.
Oh, love. That's a great song, yeah. Wonderful song.
Should I stay or should I go? A lot of Guns N' Roses. I don't know why, because it wasn't in the soundtrack, but I listened to it a lot through season 1, just on my own and trying to get myself into the character, and I love it. Yeah.
Alex, I don't know where Alex is. Oh, hi, there's Alex. She wants to know, how is it working with so many boys? And do you consider yourself a tomboy?
Oh, no. I mean, do you see what I'm wearing? I think the boys, they definitely taught me to, like, I don't know. Before this, I was like, boys? Oh, no. Boys. Oh, I'm not ready for this. And then I was like, would I want girls? I don't know if I want girls. So I was like, I'm going to stick with the boys. Because the boys, they just don't gossip. They just kind of go with the flow, and that's definitely what I am. And I think I am a tomboy. Like, today I wore just, like, this sweater that was, like, Birkenstock. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm very tomboy, although when I get into the spotlight, I'm like, oh, pink, roses, yes, I like this. But yeah, I mean, I think the boys are just, I just watched a little bit of the episode, and, like, they're so good, and just great people to work with, and I absolutely, like, love them, and they are, like, my family, like, my big brothers. Great chemistry, yeah. Which is crazy, because we argue a lot. We argue, we bicker, but we love each other, and and I think that's what shows on camera, especially.
Kelly, I don't know where Kelly is. Kelly's somewhere. But Kelly would like to know how difficult it is to keep plot lines a secret. Because I know,
Plot
like, this
lines.
season, you guys have to throw away, you had to, like, throw away your sides after each episode, right? Like, you can't,
After every day.
after every day, you have to make sure your sides are just, like,
Well, it has your
destroyed.
name on it. So if you lose them, you're done. I never, again, I think I can say this. I have lines in this season, obviously. I don't want to laugh. I'm scared. I'm probably going to a call from Netflix like, Millie, you probably shouldn't say that again. I have lines. And so, but like I said, I don't read the sides. So I read the scripts and, that's a lot of reading. So as I read in school and just a lot of reading in general, I don't really want to read the sides. Although the boys had to shred them. They shredded. And there are people that they get things. They're like, the question that also very annoys me a lot is when they're like, so this happens in season 2, right? And I'm like, no. I know this is a trick question. Like, I'm prepared. Like, I've had this training. You go through training. Season 1, we had training to say what we had to say. And, like, if somebody's like, when is the season 2 coming out? It's coming out this year. Yeah. Smile and nod and agree. That's my thing. So it's very hard to keep plot lines a secret, though. Some castmates don't care. If they're like, oh, yeah, this happens. And I'm like, oh, wow. I'm not going to say anything to that.
They will not be back for season 3. No, it's crazy. I mean, I've been on shows before, but it's insane, the level of secrecy. I mean, they're really trying to, but it's great because it's for the best show possible.
Well, I the other day, I was in hair and makeup, and and I was in hair and makeup, and I had a dog on my lap, and so I took a selfie with the dog, and behind me was a picture of season 2, and a very important picture that I probably shouldn't have posted. And I took it down, and then my fans started to retweet it, and I reported them and it's gone, never to be seen again. But it's completely gone. I reported every single one of them before Netflix called me. I was like, I didn't tell anybody. I didn't even tell my parents. I was like, done. And the dog was like, yeah. I was like, no. It was gone. It was great.
Gabriel Manick, he has a question. You kind of talked about this a little bit, but how do you approach a role that's more about speaking through actions and less about actual dialogue?
It's very difficult because, it's very easy for someone to say, I'm sad. I'm so upset. I'm really angry. Like, it's very, that's usually how you emote. But with me, I have to just do it in my face. And it was very difficult. But once you get the hang of it, the character starts to become you, and it starts to get like a cycle. It starts to become a routine, it starts to get easier. And then, like, sometimes you have a scene where you're like, ooh, okay, I need the directors for this one. Like, help me. How do I do this? Or I go to Winona, and I'm like, Winona, how do I approach the scene? I don't know what to do. And she's like, well, you should do this, maybe, or you could do this. And she gives me so many options. And then, like, for the scene where I had to kiss Finn, I just didn't know what to do. Like, I was, like, blank. Also, the only thing I was worrying about was kissing him. And I was like, how am I going to react? Like, because I'm a very, I think 11's helped me with this, but, like, if I see something weird, you're going to see it on my face. I'm like, I'm very,
No poker face.
No, like, it's great, like, and no filter either, so I'll say, like, you're weird. But, so when it happened, the scene, first take, I pulled away and I went, ew. And they was like, Millie, no, you can't do that. And I'm like, oh, I don't know how to do this. I don't want to do this. And they're like, no, you have to just look like you enjoyed it. And I'm like, enjoyed? But I didn't. And they're like, this is what acting is. Like, it's so, I don't know. It's so weird.
Laura has a question. She wants to know, as a young actor, what's the biggest challenges for you? What are the biggest challenges? Is it competition, finding the right roles, probably?
No, I love people that get jobs. I actually, So I really do, because I'm like, wow, like I do it for the craft, so I know they're doing it for the craft. And obviously, like, I took a job away from another little girl. I took a job away from, another little boy. Like, this has happened before, where I'm like, there's a boy character, and I'm like, I'm gonna still go for it, because maybe they might change their mind. And they changed it to a girl. I mean, I didn't get the job, but they changed it to a girl. Like, I'm over here changing things, But like, I think that it's important, because competition is like definitely a big part of this job, but you have to learn to not let it control it. Like, you can't control that it's gonna happen, and you're gonna look at an actor and you're gonna be like, crap, they are perfect for this role. Like, and you're gonna look at the blonde hair at a girl, and I'm like, oh, I have a shaved head. Darn it! But it's like, you're gonna let it be, and they're gonna pick the person they're probably gonna amazing in it. For example, I went for Logan, Wolverine, and that was like the one job that I just wanted. Like, I studied for hours on end in my bedroom, highlighting this. Okay, I want to do this right, and I flew to New York, and I met Hugh Jackman. I met the director, James Mangold, and I was like, I've got this in the bag. Like, I have to. I was filming Stranger Things, and I was like, this is gonna happen. I know it. And I saw all these other girls, and I was like, oh, they're all Spanish. I'm not Spanish. I was born in Spain, and I can speak a little, but they've got it. I know it. And I went home, and it was like, I was playing on the street with my friends, and my dad shouted out to me, hey, Millie, you didn't get it. And and I said, oh, okay, thanks. And I went on playing. And I was like, and my dad was, he didn't care, and I didn't care. I was like, okay. And I went to the MTV Awards, and I saw her. And I was like, oh, this competition is controlling me. And I was drinking my Coke like, oh. And then I was like, I looked at my sister. My sister was like, smile. And I was like, oh. So I think the best thing for me to do was to go over to her. So I went over to her, and I was like, hi, I'm Millie, nice to meet you. She was like, hi, oh my goodness, I'm so, and I was like, oh my goodness, she's nice, and she's great, and I love her. And that's what annoyed me, was she was so good. And when she like won the award, I was like, oh wow, like, I want to be her. And she was like, I think she's 9, and she was just so great. And like, she's Spanish. And I was like, oh, I'm not. And she was like, you are so great. And I was like, oh my, wow, like, you don't even understand. And yeah, like, the competition definitely wants to control you. But the most difficult part about being an actor, or being me, is, being a human's tough. But like, I think keeping yourself grounded, and remember who took you to the auditions in the first place, which was my dad, and remember like who curled your hair, who put like, which was my mum, and like who revised the scripts was my sister. Like, people that was there for you from day one, you have to remember the people, because other than that, nobody else really was there. Nobody else really believed in you except for my manager, Melanie, who just kind of based herself off of a Christmas performance. And my parents, who just believed in me from day one.
Well, that's a great way to end things. Thank you all for coming. Thank you, Millie Bobby Brown. Thank you all for coming.